Hello, everybody. I'm trying to record this a second time. People, our president came on TV and talked a little bit about our federal government should be providing 2 years of community college to everybody. Well, I'm going to go a little deeper than that and a little further than that. If you go to my video on education, this is going to be a repeat. Now, you all sit there and say, well, where are we going to get the money for this? Why is it even necessary? Okay. What, a couple of months ago, the Army said to get into the military, you have to have a high school diploma. So what does that statement, the Army, the Air Force, the Marines, and the Navy, all our military, requires you to have the minimum of a high school diploma. That is required to get into the military. Now, why am I talking about the military? Well, what gives the federal government the right to build roads? To use our taxpayers' money for roads, to use our taxpayers' money to build bridges, to use our taxpayer money to maintain this infrastructure. The United States federal government must establish postal routes. They must establish them. You got to build them. That's where it comes from. Now, what is it that gives the United States federal government the need to provide for a common education, a common language, and to provide it for the minimum of high school, but should be to at least what I call 14th grade, or you would call community colleges? It's got to be something. Because I say it's in the Constitution. It's in plain sight. So, I get my little glasses on. I get my little constitutional book. And I'm going to read it to you. Yes, because if it's there, I should find it, right? And of course, I do very quickly. Constitution of the United States. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, provide for the common defense. The federal government must provide for the common defense. What does that mean? Everything that is required to provide for the common defense, the federal government must do. Now, what happened a couple of months ago? Army says to get in the Army, you have to have a high school diploma. The Navy, Marines, and Air Force already had that. Now, what's the purpose of our military? To provide for the common defense. Yet, if you can't get in the military because you don't have, quote unquote, a high school education, how can the federal government provide for the common defense? Now, that's just looking at it, where is it in the Constitution? Where in the Constitution is the Department of Education in providing for the common defense? It's there, in plain English. Just like where the federal government is there to build roads, to provide postal routes for roads. It's there, plain English. Wait a minute, that ain't plain. No, that is the way it is. For the United States federal government to provide for the common defense, every citizen must have a high school diploma. Otherwise, there's people who couldn't be in the military. We get too many that can't be in the military. Now, we can't provide for common defense. JD, you read it too simple. No, I read the Constitution as it is written. So, to provide for the common defense, we need education. Now, I say 13th, 14th grade. Obama says community college. Now, you are arguing, where are we going to get the money for this? Well, let me use another analogy. You have a factory that's making business. It's making a product. You're making a profit. You're keeping people working. Unfortunately, the machines you use to make the profit are getting old, getting worn out. You keep repairing them, but they keep breaking down more often. You have to go that step beyond. You have to get that new, improved addition to that machine, that new upgrade. But where are you going to get the money for it? Well, if you don't get the upgrade, your machines will completely start breaking down to the point you're not making any profit at all. To the point where you're not making anything at all. So you must find the money. You must come up with what is needed. And you will. Well, the same thing goes for our country. If it means we have to give the third world less money for their education so that our students can get the educated needed to provide for our society to move forward, to get people out of communities like Ferguson, here in some in Norfolk, Virginia, throughout the country, up in the back hills of the mining communities, to get those children educated to the point where they can move on, they can do a better job, they can build a better future for this country. Is that too much to ask? I mean, you people who wish to marry who you wish to marry, same gender or not, is it too much to ask of you? You people who wish to pray where you wish to pray, and not the government interfering with it, is that too much to ask of you? You people who want the right to own those guns, is that too much to ask? Matter of fact, this education will protect everything I just mentioned, especially that little child that needs it. From the day you're born to the day you die, your rights and privileges must be protected. Education is the answer to the key. Somebody asked me, and I talked with them about communism, and what is the biggest downfall for communism? What makes it guaranteed to fail every single time? Education. Because education teaches two things. One, knowledge. And two, to question everything and how to research it and find the truth. And when a person questions and researches and finds the truth, you can't lie to them. And they're not going to stand for it. So to keep our nation free, to provide for the common defense, to go into the future positively, this nation needs education of its youth. Our youth is the future of our nation. You can disagree all you want, but hey, 20 years, I'm going. I'm out of here. I'm 6 feet now. I'm going to be in ashes, spread on the beach, hopefully a new beach. I'll take care where the ashes lay. But the truth is, our futures are our children. If we are stingy with our children, how in the world do we expect to have them and their children beyond to have a future? Do you want them to go through what we've been going through since 1960? It's got to end. We have to positively say no to the political parties, the political machines, and start thinking of our people and our nation foremost, above all else. See, the Constitution, here's an example of the living document the Constitution really is. Our military says you got to have a high school diploma to get in. Huh! The Constitution says you got to provide for the common defense, which means now you got to provide that high school education. It has now changed. That's a living document. The Constitution is a living document, as it is written. Our forefathers, believe me, the grace of God was in them when they wrote that Constitution. But it's up to us, the people, to maintain and ensure that the people shall be served by the government, not the government served by the people. So, education, is it in the Constitution? Yes, right there in bold print. Provide for the common defense. Minimum, high school now. But if we wish to go beyond and wish to have our children's future, I say we should provide a 13th and 14th grade now. The first 2 years of college should be taught in high school. Now that 13th and 14th grade must be set specifically. It has to be where students are broken away. Students who plan on going to more advanced colleges would have college prep courses. Like that English that's needed, that math that's needed, that science that's needed. College prep courses. Oh, that sounds familiar. That's what I took in New York. College prep. I was in the college prep courses. And the students who are not planning to go to a more advanced college would have courses like, office assistant. They would learn online techniques. They would learn computer repair. They would learn internet operations. They would learn how to use office programs. They would learn how to be an office assistant. They would learn how to, in other words, a trade. A legal assistant, 13th or 14th grade, 6 hours a day, different programs set up for that. Like one, they work with an office type program like Microsoft Office. One would be Word, another would be Excel, so that's separate, not together. And then they would learn filing and different types of documents that the law has that they would need as an office assistant for a legal organization. Same thing with medical. A medical assistant. EMF, emergency medical people. Emergency medical care. Intro to nursing and intro to doctors. These are just some of the many things that should be done in high school, 13th and 14th grade. Now, how should we document this? That needs to be documented too. I have an 8th grade diploma from graduating 8th grade. I have a high school diploma from graduating from high school. And now I have a 2-year associate's college diploma from graduating from Taiwan City College. And if I go to another college and I get a 4-year, I'll have that diploma, etc., etc. But people, education is our future. The lack of education, you don't even want to dream about. Don't ask where are we going to come up with the money. Say we need to come up with the money. The federal government needs to focus more on education and less on buying friends throughout the world and trying to run the world. How much more can we add to education if we cut our budget to the UN? And yet, by increasing our education, we will help the UN. Because the higher educated, the more understanding, the more questions, the more the people of this nation will be. So people, my theory, my plan on education, don't talk to me about, oh, there's nothing in the Constitution about the Department of Education. It's there in bold print. Provide for the common defense. That's the clause saying it. Military says you got to be a high school graduate. Then we have to do that. Why should the federal government? Because we need a common core education system with a common language. Could you see some army unit trying to function in the battlefield when there's 4 different languages spoken? Boy, that'd be fun giving commands then. You better hope that that commanding officer knows all 4 languages and he has to repeat himself 4 times. So there's got to be a common language. And in this country, it's English. There's got to be a core common education so that that Army private can open up the manual and learn how to operate a weapon system that isn't a rifle no more. So, education is important. It's the most important part of our Constitution. It's more important than you having the right to choose who you shall marry. It's more important than you do as your gun. It's more important than you where you are. Because without education, you can't protect any of it against the greed and the corporations and the political parties that wish to dictate to you how to live. Education is their worst enemy. Because if you're educated, you won't believe a word any of them say. And you'll research and look for the truth. So people, that is me, JD, and how I feel about education. Your children are the most important and precious individuals in this nation. And we as a society and you as a parent, we together must ensure they get the best possible education to equip them for tomorrow. That's what it's all about. Yes, there's problems with the education program. We have teachers that are in there for life that shouldn't be teaching one day, never mind the whole life of it. But we have some very good teachers. And I think if we take it from the top down, being good and being the best we can change those things. But we, as a nation, must do it together. So people, I tell you, yes, education is in the Constitution. It's right there where it states, provide for the common defense. Because without education, your military could not do their job. And they would not be able to provide for the common defense. Thank you. If you disagree with me, let me know. I want to know. I say this over and over. If you agree with me, help me. Spread the word to everybody. Everybody you want to send this video to, spread it to. If you disagree, let's talk. Because that's what it's about. I want to hear your opinion, your voice. What matters to you? Because that's what I want to bring to Washington, D.C. You matter. And I hope you hold me. Every one of my videos I've ever done is there on YouTube. And the reason they're there is so that you can hold me to them. JD, you said this. In June 2008, you said this. In July 2009, you said this in 2012. Now I'm saying it in 2015. And hold me to it. That's why they're there. So that I will never, ever not keep my word to you, the people. Thank you. This is JD. Remember, don't question where education is. It is providing for the common defense because our military requires it. Thank you. You all have a nice day. This is JD. Remember, if you agree with me, help me spread this around. If you disagree, let me know. My address is in, go to the contribution page. It's care of Barbara Crow. Just put James D. Crow there. And you got my address. And write me. Tell me how you disagree. And I'll be glad to write back and Or even better, call me at home. I'll doggone talk to you. I love when people call me and we can talk. You have a nice day. This is JD.